Hello, my name is Sungo Kuwana, and I am a lead recruiter here in the UK, and I look after our specialist sales business here in the UK. Lovely to have you all and joining us from all parts of the world. I know we've had over 1,800 registrations as of this morning. That number may be more, and it's really pleased to have you all on this live digital event. This is the first business applications live digital event that we are hosting. However, we've had about 6 or 7 different fireside chats that you may have been following across the different solutions that we have here in Microsoft. Really, it's great to have you all, whether you're in the US, whether you are in Europe, or whether you're in our Asia Pacific region. It's very great to have you here. So I will be hosting the event today, and I will be joined by Jon Paul, who is our digital sales director, who's based in Ireland, by Lucy Brown, who is our business applications industry lead in the UK, and we have Gosia Baczewska, who is one of our specialists based in the Netherlands. Hello, everybody. So, hi. Bit of housekeeping before we get going. I know you would have all seen there is the Q&A or the chat box on your screen. Please do try and ask as many questions as you can. We will do our best to get through the questions throughout the conversation and throughout the discussion. If there are any challenges around the audio, etc., please put that into the chat, and we'll do our best to change any challenges that are happening. And we have a space at the end for Q&A, which will be about 15 minutes. So fingers crossed we get through all of the content, and then we'll be able to answer some of your questions. Okay, so to kick off, it'd be great for Jon, if I go to you straight away, to have a conversation with you around, what does business applications mean to Microsoft? I know business applications will mean different things to different parts of the technology world, and so it'd be great to get a bit of context from you on the solution. Business team.
Okay, Sungo, thank you very much indeed, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody who's listening. So I think the best way of describing what we talk about when we mean business applications is to start with our customers. So as we all see around us every day, industries are in transition, and even more so over the last 12 to 18 months. Customers are being far more particular about the service that they get. Retailers are having to offer curbside pickup. Manufacturers are digitizing their factories. Consumers are changing vehicles. They're looking for advances, driver assistance. Our industries are changing all over the place. And what is required for these customers is a digital platform that will enable them to transform. And that's what we at Microsoft believe that we can supply across many industries. And let me start with a wider picture of the Microsoft Cloud. It's underpinned with industry-leading identity, security, management, and compliance at its very heart. We then have the immense capability of Microsoft Azure and GitHub as technology platforms for software development, but also for hosting and running different workloads. Microsoft 365 and employee productivity, and hopefully all of you will have seen and heard of LinkedIn as a networking platform and an employee engagement platform. What we mean when we talk about business applications specifically are the Microsoft Dynamics 365 product group and also the Microsoft Power Platform. And those two main product groups then form what we call in Microsoft business applications. When we talk to people about business applications, at the very heart of that is data and intelligence. And using the use of that data and intelligence to engage better with customers, to empower people within the organization to make good decisions about the business, but also about the people within the company, to enable organizations to optimize their operations, whether that's a retail supply chain or a delivery network for a distribution company, and then transform their products So better understand how their products work, how they develop their products, how they manufacture their products. And all of that is done through a joined up suite of applications. And you can see those here. Data and intelligence is at the heart. Microsoft Dynamics 365 is built on a common data platform that we call the Dataverse. And we have a whole series of areas of functionality from finance, online commerce, whether that's B2B or B2C, project operations, our mixed reality guides and remote assist functionality, our customer service functionality, sales, a whole range of application and business functionality that are designed to address the use cases within any organization. And supporting all of those different areas of functionality, we have our Power Platform, so Power BI for analysis, Power Apps to supplement the existing functionality with new functionality, highly targeted mobile applications, our virtual agents to interact with customers, and Power Automate to bring life to those business processes and move those flows and move information and activity around the organization very quickly and effectively. That is the functionality and the broad footprint that we refer to as Microsoft Business Applications. We bring that to life by using our partner ecosystem and using our industry specialized components. So that's a really good set of broad functionality, but that really comes into its own when we apply that into a specific setting for an industry. And we brought out 5 new industry offerings. So Microsoft Cloud for, and then financial services, manufacturing, nonprofits, healthcare, and retail. And you can see along the bottom a whole range of partners that we work with in those industries and some examples of the customers that we serve. And so for us, it's about bringing some phenomenal business functionality, knitted together with some industry expertise and industry intellectual property through the delivery mechanisms of our partners to bring really transformational messages and transformational projects to our customers that will hopefully enable them to thrive, to grow, to compete in their different markets, and to innovate and transform their businesses in this new digital age. Sungo, I hope that's a good summary of what business applications is.
Yes.
And then within the Microsoft ecosystem, we then have teams of very specialist salespeople and technical specialists who articulate and work with our customers on this business applications portfolio in conjunction with salespeople, account managers, representatives from all around the Microsoft business who are working with our customers.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. I really like, obviously, the description there. Obviously, familiar with the description, but I think you articulate it very well. So hopefully it brings to life, the Microsoft world from a business applications point of view for our listeners. Lucy, if I could ask you more of a specific question around the customers. Obviously, Jon's really nicely articulated, and also showed example of some of the customers that we deal with. Have you got any specific examples of, how you are driving transformation or change or adoption within your clients?
Sure. So thanks, Sungo, and hello to everyone. Unfortunately, we can't see our audience, so I'm trying to imagine all your faces right now, but welcome. So Jon there talked a lot about digital transformation and why our customers are having to transform, going through these periods of transition. That term has been around now for almost a decade, but in reality, many of our customers are still very early on in their journey. With the global pandemic, without question, has meant many companies have had to accelerate their journeys, starting from really simple things like needing to give their workforces remote access to company systems from home, through to rethinking the way that they sell to and service their customers when they can't meet face to face, when we've had to work in lockdown or in very restricted circumstances. So one example that springs to mind is a UK insurance company called Beazley, who were very quick to pivot to a new digital way of working. So Beazley are a member of the London insurance market, a very traditional marketplace. They've been conducting business face-to-face for hundreds of years in the City of London. When the London insurance market was forced to shut and we all went into lockdown, people were sent home to work. Beazley had to figure out a really efficient way to connect their brokers with the underwriters in order to place business. So they selected our Power Platform to address this, and a solution was designed and deployed in a matter of weeks. It's actually proven to be such an efficient way of working that even when their employees return to work, they will continue to use this solution. And now we're talking to Beazley about other business processes that they can digitize by further developing the platform.
That's a really great example, and I think we'll talk about how life has evolved, and how the impacts that we've had with wider customer bases over the last 18 months, which has been challenging for a number of different reasons. So we appreciate that example, Lucy. Jon, if I come back to you just on if we go into more of the culture of your organisation, because I know that's probably, if I was looking at this organisation, one thing that would be a priority for me when looking at the organisation. So it'd be great if you could give the listeners an overview of maybe or a brief synopsis of your Microsoft career to date, and maybe how your experience has helped develop the culture within your team.
Sure, thank you, Sungo. So without wanting to bore everybody with my life history, I was born and raised in London, and went on to study IT at university. I took a very particular course in IT. It was IT and society. And what appealed to me then was it didn't look at just the technology on its own, but technology's impact on the society in which we live. And that's something that's carried through with me even today in how I work and how I think about my job and what I do. So I'm fascinated by how an organization can adopt technology and use it to transform itself. So not just the technology itself, but its application is absolutely fascinating. I've spent 25 years working in software, selling software. It's a profession for me. It's something I've loved and got a lot out of. And I really like the accountability and the direct relationship between my effort, my capability, my capacity to learn and work with customers, and then the reward that you get in sales. So that very direct relationship of effort and reward, and then the accountability, is something that really appeals to me. And throughout my career, I've worked in different companies with different approaches to sales. The one thing I like about Microsoft, and that I really love about working here, is we have that balance right between the high challenge, pushing people to do more, to innovate, to transform our customers. But with that, we bring a huge amount of support and help and assistance and technology and resources to enable them to make that transformation. And when we think about what that means then for our culture, we have three values that we talk about all the time. Respect. Respect talks to how we treat people, how we work with people, how we think about our customers, how we think about our colleagues and our friends within the organization. Integrity, absolutely vital. We are asking companies to give us their business processes, their data, their intellectual property, and trust that Microsoft will run those applications on their behalf. And so integrity is absolutely at the heart of everything we do. We must be absolutely, beyond question, trustworthy in everything that we do. And then finally, we talk about accountability. So accountability for our own development, for our own learning, for our own actions. That's critical to how we work. And so that really guides what we do every day. And so when we talk to the teams and when we make that real within our business, we challenge people. We look for feedback. We look for feedback all the time. We look for questions. We look to be curious. We look to try and understand what is happening in our business, what's happening in our customers' business. And so for me as a leader within that organization, it's about giving people that space and trust and resource to explore how they can best perform in their role, how they can best serve their customers, but also then how they can learn. And so it's a fascinating environment. It's a really high growth environment, high challenge, and an exciting place to work.
Thank you, Jon. I think do enjoy the way you articulate certainly the culture, and a lot of the elements that you've put in there, resonate with me personally. Been on the journey, and I think the culture is a priority. I think certainly you can learn bits around the technology and learn bits around, being technical or being commercial. But I think the culture is something that is, very important for you to join a business and add to it. So it's great to hear some of the elements there. So Lucy, just using Jon's description of the culture, how does that that feed into how you would bring people into the organization in terms of what were you looking for and what would successful look like for yourself?
Sure. So, I mean, as I'm sure many on the call know, Microsoft is a vast organization. It's full of amazing opportunity. The roles here are really exciting. You can have a whole career in our business and definitely not get bored. But size, I suppose, can also bring complexities in learning to navigate the company and get what you need to be successful. So I definitely think that successful individuals here are strong self-starters. They've got lots of initiative. I would describe a sales role in my team a bit like running your own franchise of our business. So you'll have goals and you'll have targets associated to the role you do. But I will also be challenging the people in my team that in order to run their own business, they need to make decisions, they need to be accountable, they need to have their own set of personal targets and a plan on how they're going to be successful and how they're going to make their quota. I think added to this, and Jon touched on this, what else do you want to achieve along the way? From a personal development perspective, there is so much in terms of personal and professional enrichment, lots of great training. So you should really be thinking about that. Funnily enough, I come, like Jon, from a whole background in tech. My entire career has been in tech, but that doesn't mean to say that yours has to be. And I really, really encourage people to come into the business from all sorts of different backgrounds. We're a really diverse team. We fully buy into the fact that bringing together individuals from all backgrounds and experience leads to the most successful and highly engaged teams. So always looking for that. People with creativity, bringing their own ideas, their own innovation. We have an ethos here called growth mindset, which is how do your ideas contribute to the success of others, or how could you take someone else's idea and improve on it and make it work for your business? I think the last thing just to touch on, and this will probably come up several times during the call, is around our values. So personally, I've been in the industry for a long time. For me, professional fulfillment isn't just about winning and about financial gain. I'm really passionate about working for a company that prioritizes doing good in the world, giving back to society, helping to make our planet a better place. So again, I think if you share similar values, you will also really thrive in this environment.
Amazing. And I particularly liked your description of we are, obviously there are certain profiles that fit the skill sets within this particular organization or this particular area of the business, but we're also very open to people coming from maybe, slightly unconventional backgrounds or slightly diverse backgrounds in terms of their route into these types of roles. And actually, Gosia, you are an example of that. You admittedly, yourself, you said that yourself, not my words. In your journey into this role has been slightly different to, I guess, the norm. So it'd be great to give the listeners a bit of a synopsis of your journey into the role and why you were drawn into this role from what you were doing before.
Thanks, Sungo. I'm really pleased for the opportunity to share today with the audience a little bit about my journey into BizApps. I do have to say it has been a very unconventional career move, as I've been almost 7 years at Microsoft. And actually, I started in our recruitment business and our talent acquisition business. And through that, I was empowered to take more scope along the way, have more, let's say, demanding and challenging roles, but also align my own personal growth journey with next steps. So that also meant at some point relocating to a different country and just starting up there. And as I was leading the recruitment in one of our geographies, I could also see the passion, the buzz, the energy coming from BizApps back then. So I was really at the heart of the hiring and observing, that customer obsession that Microsoft was, let's say, having around business applications, the investment into, people, their capabilities. That was something that I found very unique at that point. And actually, if you would ask me back then, how does your 5-year career plan looks like? It wasn't planned to actually move into solution sales, but I thought, I'm really curious about this feeling. I'm really curious about that buzz that is going on in BizApps. Let me apply and let me explore that. So I did. I went through a full interviewing process, and actually, I got the role, and here I am. But I think that's what. If I reflect on what helped me to make that move was definitely this notion of some of the transferable skills. So as a recruiter, I would know business applications from a perspective of a user. So I would have experience working with our recruitment systems, HR systems. And actually, I landed in a role where I cover some of the staffing agencies as well. So I could also bring into the role not only that knowledge of processes, but also the industry background, understanding, how the sector is moving, what are the trends, and what essentially staffing companies are, needing in terms of their own digital transformation. But I also think that, a part of that, the fit, to the culture, the fact that personally, I like that accountability that comes, with your role. I like to be the entrepreneur in my, let's say, own targets and own set of customers. I think that was also something that was really good fit for me to bring back to the team.
Amazing. And I think as an individual contributor, your journey will continue in a different way to maybe the other panelists on the call. So it'd be great for you to give the listeners just a bit of a view on what your typical day looks like as a specialist in the business applications business.
So I think that's all days, they start with one typical point. This is a very good and very nice morning coffee. But apart from that, to be honest, I do like to have, a bit of reflection and planning at the beginning of the week. So, I look at my activities and I try to balance my time between the client-facing time. So really being in front of my customers, listening to their challenges, supporting them, inspiring them in terms of, how they can apply the technology to respond to their needs. And throughout that, of course, managing my business, looking where I am with the opportunities, but also what sort of help I need from the extended, let's say, Microsoft team in order to, bring that transformation forward. So that would be one of the aspects of my typical day. And here I try to have a very nice balance as well with meetings with my own teams, because as well on different clients, we have extended teams with specialists, with technical people, with customer success, where we are teaming up in order to bring that, to bring that vision together. But also, I think it's very important in a typical, let's say, day to also have time for your own, focus and learning. So for me, as I'm still learning a lot about business applications, about the solution selling domain, I try to also have time to touch with my peers, understand, what they are doing, how they are being successful. And to be honest, with Microsoft, you always get plenty of opportunity to learn. We have different type of, let's say, courses, community calls, regular connections with my manager that help me actually have that good, let's say, development plan that helps me in my career forward.
Amazing. I really like how you structure your day and your week into the three areas as you talked about there, in terms of your team, into your customers, and into learning. I think that approach will translate into any role at Microsoft, certainly. So that's certainly some structure that I'll be continuing to mirror as well. Lucy, as a leader, with a team of specialists within your business, what role would a leader play in supporting, somebody with a structure like Gosia or within the team?
So I manage a team of sales and technical specialists that have slightly different needs, but a lot of it is very transferable. So primarily, I see my role to support each of the team in fulfilling their goals and their targets, completing their business plans. Often I'll do this by bringing the right people and resources in to help at the right time. As I talked about before, navigating the organization can be challenging at times. There's a lot of cross-team collaboration that can span multiple functional teams as well as sometimes geographic regions. So that's something that I can certainly help with. A big part of the culture here as a manager is making sure that we are dedicating a lot of time to coaching and giving our teams feedback. Making sure that we are unlocking all of the potential, all of the great skills and experience that we have in our team, as well as how we address gaps through personal development. And as Gosia talked about, there is a lot of learning and there's access to a lot of great resources to do that learning. So it's helping to pinpoint where people should go for their learning and what will benefit them the most. In my team, we are also industry aligned. So I bring an industry perspective. I'm always challenging the team to deepen their industry knowledge, which you can do in a vast number of ways, and put themselves in the shoes of their customers. I think lastly, it's just aligning the team. We talked about having a diverse team and somebody has to bring them together. I like to develop a strong team culture. And make everyone accountable for contributing to that culture. And at the end of the day, we're not just here to work, we're here to have fun as well. And that's also definitely part of my role.
What did you say is your favourite part of your role? Obviously, you've gone through a lot of great elements to your role there. What would you say is your favourite as a leader?
So, I think as a sales leader, no prizes for guessing that obviously winning is something that we all enjoy coming to work for, particularly, when you know that you're going to really help a customer make a difference and transform an area of their business. That's exciting. I think specifically from me as a manager, though, I think one of my most fulfilling aspects is really just watching the team grow. See them challenge themselves, maybe go outside of their comfort zone, support them in doing that, but actually come through the other side, and have really smashed that target or, ace the speaking slot at an event they put themselves for, whatever it might be. It's great to support them in that journey and see them succeed.
And Gosia, as a individual contributor, your favourite part of your role may mirror Lucy's, but there may be some differences as well. What would you say, is your favourite or are your favourite parts of your role?
Definitely, I think Sungo, that's my favorite part is being around the clients. I would echo what Lucy was saying, that as a solution specialist, you are an entrepreneur on your own territory. You have, all the freedom of the flexibility to take your clients from a certain vision to realizing that vision. I think that along the way, also we can really dream crazy because you have at your fingertips all of the, let's say, teams at Microsoft, all of the technology to make that fulfillment. So I think that, working with the clients, helping them, being creative in the way how I approach that's something that I enjoy thoroughly. But also there is a deeper aspect. So something that is very important for me is also how I can fulfill my own personal purpose at the company that I work for. So I'm personally intrinsically motivated by helping others, whether that's within my team, within my customers. And I think that Microsoft is definitely an organization where my own personal purpose aligns to very well. And as we partner with extended teams and also our partner ecosystem, we're also able to deliver that success while still having fun, while still growing, learning all along the way. And also sometimes, failing and learning through that. So I think that's the aspect of having the growth mindset that enables you to also take a risk, grow and learn. That's also something that I enjoy and I see very vividly in my role.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I think it's certainly refreshing personally for me to be part of an organization that, really lives and breathes, growth mindset philosophy, and, going from I think John alluded to before, but going from a know-it-all to a learn-it-all. And, because that's the culture in the organization, you're then, you feel free to take some risks and, think outside the box, knowing that, there is an opportunity for learning through negative experiences as well as positive experiences. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's definitely, a great point of the business. I'm just getting sort of drawn into the conversation and getting sucked into all of the great answers that you're giving. I'm starting to make our way through some of the questions that are coming through, and there are loads of questions that are coming through. So I just thought I'd ask one now at the moment, because I think there's one what's really good around, can't see who it's from, but it's certainly one that resonates certainly with myself. And it's a question around how important is diversity at Microsoft. And I know, John, I'll come to you with this question. Inclusivity and diversity, they're definitely topics that, we've made, a lot of noise around, over the last sort of, 2-3 years around how it underpins everything that we do. How in your business are you bringing these commitments to life?
Okay, I mean, the first thing I'd say is we have to represent the markets that we serve. And so, we have to represent the full range of different types of people in the companies that we work with and in the countries that we work with. And so diversity is hugely important. I myself work in Dublin in a very large multinational sales center where 80% of our team have relocated. So we have a huge amount of diversity within our team. We have 40 different languages represented from 130 different countries. So different nationalities, religions, all kinds of different people within the organization. However, diversity is only one aspect of the equation. We also need to make sure that all of those different people feel included, they feel valued, and they feel part of the team. And so we have a number of behaviors that we try and exhibit when it comes to inclusivity. So we encourage people to ask questions, to be curious. And that could be something as simple as, how do I pronounce your name? Or where are you from? What holidays do you celebrate in your country? There's a number of ways in which you can really bring somebody in and make them feel a part of a team just by being curious and asking questions. Then is listening and understanding. So when we're in a meeting setting, is to make sure everybody has a voice, everybody's getting heard. There's some personality types, maybe more introvert, some more extrovert. We want to make sure that input is valid and valuable from everybody, no matter who they are or how they like to express their opinions. And then finally, we ask people to be brave. So when we see something that is not inclusive, that is not fitting to our values and our culture, that we should call it out. We shouldn't feel unempowered. We should feel absolutely within our rights to address behaviors, to give feedback, and to say, actually, no, that's something I'm not comfortable with. Can we change that? So I think we really try and take some wider initiatives around diversity and then make them very personal. So on an individual basis, every day, we try and treat our colleagues and the people that we meet in line with those core values of respect, integrity, and accountability, but also then understanding, some of those challenges around inclusivity, to make sure that people feel they can be themselves and bring their whole selves to work and be the best that they can within Microsoft.
That's a great answer, and I especially love the piece around being brave, but also like the piece about being yourself. I think one of our Microsoft taglines at the moment is come as you are and do what you love, and I think that is certainly fit into diversity. And I think certainly we have a lot of employee resource groups, or ERGs as we describe them across the Microsoft globe, that will support people who are coming to the business as they are. I know, Gosia, that's something that you feel very strongly about, and that you're part of various employee resource groups as an ally, or somebody that would fit into one of those groups. Would you be able to expand a little bit on the impact that has on the organization?
Sure, happy to. And I do also identify very closely with this idea that John mentioned about diversity and inclusivity, and also being, an ally. And actually, what you see at Microsoft is that in every region you have specific employee resource groups. Because of my, let's say, recruitment background, I joined the employee resource group about diversity and inclusion, and especially the work stream around external leadership. So also, bringing to the society some positive, let's say, role models, inspiring also females to switch in their careers in tech. So this is something that we have been developing very, very closely in order to also have that presence, because I think that with the position that Microsoft has in the world, there also comes a great responsibility and a great opportunity. So I think from the stance that we have as an organization, we can also bring a lot of, let's say, goodness into that. And that can be also other topics. So something that I also see now being a topic that picks up within the ERGs is sustainability, how we can also contribute to the climate as such with the position that we have. So I hope that this brings a little bit closer that idea to the audience, Sungo.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. One of the obviously, just looking at the time again, I think we're sort of racing forward. I want to get into the Q&A in about 10 minutes or so with lovely sort of loads of great questions coming through from everybody. It's much appreciated. One of them that has come through, which I'll start with you, Lucy, as we move into giving a bit of a description to the team around what the future looks like, or life now looks like, and the phrase that's maybe overused around the new normal going forward. One of the questions that's been asked around what lessons were that have we learned, or since the pandemic has hit the Microsoft organization. I imagine for yourself the landscape for your customers as well as internally was changing at different rates. So how have you managed to balance the adapting changes and challenges that the pandemic and COVID-19 has presented?
Yeah, I mean, the phrase that you used just there, "come as you are," that sticks in my mind, because I think that there is just so much authenticity we've all had to share with each other in this last period. We're all talking to you right now from our homes. In fact, I'm sitting here worrying that my children are going to come through the door from school at any minute and make a terrible noise. We've had to adapt. The past 15 months has been upside down for all of us, I'm sure, in some shape or form. I actually joined during lockdown in May last year, which has been challenging. I've met most but not all of my team just the once, and as a newly formed team, we haven't actually been together in a real live environment. It's always been virtual. I don't think there's another company that I would have wanted to join like this. We've been so fortunate that we've had access to all of our own collaboration and productivity tools, Teams being one of them, which we now live in every day. But I think also Microsoft has a really strong heritage in virtual meetings and remote working anyway. As I talk to a lot of the team, they are dotted all over our country, and we regularly meet with people across different geographies as well. So I think it's a fairly well-trodden path anyway, which has really helped. There's no question that I miss seeing people in person. I really miss seeing customers in person. But the organization has taken real steps to make sure that everyone feels highly engaged, that they feel included, that everybody has what they need to continue being successful and productive. And customers are starting to return to the workplace now. I gave you the example earlier on of Beazley. This is going to be a really exciting time because the pace of transformation that customers need to adopt, it needs to stay where it is. It needs to be accelerated. Customer expectations are even greater. Since we've been through this period, they realize that you can do things without showing up somewhere in person. It's digital first. They're demanding more ease of use than ever. And priorities have changed. More consideration is now being given to quality of life. We're thinking about the way we used to live and work and actually asking ourselves, do we want to go back to that? So really, really exciting time. We will be looking to work with all of our customers to figure out what this new normal looks like. And as Jon outlined at the beginning, we have got the most amazing and comprehensive set of tools in our kit bag to take customers through all sorts of different types of transformation journeys. So I just can't wait to get back to some kind of seeing people in person. But I can tell you, we've had a really phenomenally successful time working like this as well.
Yeah, I think we all agree with you on getting back to seeing people. We can't use the word normality anymore, but like you said, because everything will be new going forward. And I think I think we'd be remiss if we didn't show our appreciation for all of the first responders, all of the the scientists, all of the the communities across the globe that are working as hard as they are to allow individuals like us to have that hope of getting back to some form of normality in the future. What impact, if I go to you Gosia, if I go to you, what impact has this the changing world had on you as a individual contributor? You're new to the role sort of 18 months ago. I think life would have probably been different then to now. What sort of impact has it had on you?
Oh, definitely, Sungo. I think it looked very different when I was accepting the role in October 2019. I think that I had the expectation how the role would look like, and I also had the opportunity to actually live a little bit of that expectation. So for my role, our Microsoft team prepared also a very robust onboarding and training schedule. And actually, I was really fortunate to also go with my colleagues, other new hires into the role, into our boot camp in Redmond, where for 2 weeks we were really immersed in business applications with all the methodologies, and also had the opportunity to bond with each other. And actually, as we were on the plane back to Amsterdam, literally the reality has changed. So every aspect of the role went from onboarding to working with your clients and team, moved into being fully remote and virtual. So in that sense, the reality has been very different. But with that challenges, I also see an opportunity for us. So also the opportunity to ask ourselves how we can be just more human in our daily jobs while everything is virtual. How we can be more, let's say, in tune with each other, and also empathize with our situation even better. And the same type of empathy actually applies for our customers. How we can adapt or how we can help them adapt to the new normal. How we can also guide them into that process, and now slowly transitioning out into a more hybrid, let's say, reality. So I think that's something that personally helped me a lot, is the rituals that we also have within Microsoft. So being mindful how we spend our time, being encouraged to take time off, to have breaks between the meetings, and even kind of a rethink how I plan my meeting, how I can include everyone, how I can also have time in between to just a little bit relax and enjoy. But I think that's also looking how Microsoft stepped up as a company in that period. I think I also could observe that uniqueness of building a community, keeping people engaged. So also we hosted for our teams a virtual wine tasting, a virtual lottery for all the employees in the Netherlands, or something like that. So also how we can still have a little bit of fun while we cannot maybe personally meet. So I think that was something that's helped me in the last, let's say, period, and made the onboarding experience as smooth as it can be possible in the new normal.
And I love definitely all about the fun, but I think I love the piece about trying to keep a community when we are so far apart from each other. Obviously we're in different countries, even us having this conversation now, but trying to keep that sense of community. And I believe that's something that's always been at Microsoft pre pandemic, pre changes. The work-life balance structure within the organization is something that we're very lucky the business has really pushed on over the last, sort of 10 years, really trying to have that focus on making sure that, your family and, yourself are prioritized as well as your customers. And as far as if that is okay, then you can manage your and balance your lifestyle accordingly. So you can continue to have that balance. It's not always easy, but it's certainly, with the big organization pushing for that, it certainly helps. So just on the piece you talked about in terms of your onboarding, Jon, if I can come to you, what would onboarding look like? And we've had a few questions as I'm going through the questions now. A few people asking questions around what does onboarding look like when you're joining the business in general, and if you'd like to elaborate as well.
Sure, thank you, Sungo. So I think onboarding is just the start of a learning journey within Microsoft. So we put a lot of effort into learning and continuous learning. And I think, as Lucy said earlier, we have growth mindset. We have a learn-it-all culture here. So it is just the first stage in a long journey of learning. We bring people in. We assign a buddy to help them with all of their everyday questions. We have an onboarding program of learning and development. We give them the technology that they need to be successful. So our Surface devices, the Teams collaboration tools for video calling and collaboration with colleagues, sharing documents. So we try and give everybody everything they need. And we start then on a journey of learning and development, a clear set of goals for the first few months where we bring people through some defined stages to make sure that they are ready, they're trained, they understand the products that we're selling, the way in which we expect them to sell, the customers in which we sell to. So it's a very clear program with a set of, combination of online and self-paced learning. It's all very different in this new world. It used to be face-to-face. We've moved all of our onboarding into a virtual environment. And so we try and replicate as much as we can of that program, but in a virtual world. We even try and replicate the camaraderie and the networking of having a classroom approach, and we sort of bring people in waves. And so we try and group people together so, again, they can develop that network of colleagues and friends as they come into a new organization.
Amazing. And I think, I think your description of the onboarding, I think, is consistent regardless of, the experience that we had, which I think has really helped, the individuals like Lucy and other people like Lucy who've come into the business and in challenging times. If we push on to career development, so Gosia, you are obviously been through the onboarding process a couple of times in your organization through different roles. What does career development look like for somebody like yourself in the organization?
So I think, Sungo, here I would like to quote our CEO, Satya Nadella, where he speaks that you really start working for Microsoft when Microsoft works for you. And actually, when it comes to career development, I think that I'm the best example to just confess that there is just no one fixed career path at Microsoft. So, a person can really pursue whichever path works best for them. But maybe to bring to this audience also how I think about that, if you are in a specialist role, you're also exposed to different roles within Microsoft. And I think that gives a very good benchmark to think, okay, in what, let's say, way you would like to develop. So on the one side, you can develop yourself by taking a more extended scope within the solution specialist role, working on more, let's say, complex accounts, complex geographies. But you also have the possibilities to actually make moves to different teams and learn, let's say, new capabilities. So what I'm trying to say is that there is, no one fixed path. We always have the possibility to stretch ourselves and explore that. Another path might also lead into leadership role. So if you're motivated by leading others, that's also a possibility. But I would say that as long as we learn, as long as we stretch ourselves, I think that from that perspective, everything is possible.
Amazing. Thank you. And I think it's certainly, again, great to be part of an organization that is so supportive of individuals joining the organization, going down one path, and then being very vocal about trying to expand your horizons and potentially looking at other paths. It certainly helps, and you are, like you said, an example of that. Right, so we've 10 minutes to go, or just over 10 minutes to go. I wanted to start getting through some of the Q&A. So hopefully we'll try and get through as many questions as possible. So hopefully if the three of you could answer as succinctly as you can, that'd be much appreciated. First question is for Lucy, which has come through really around somebody trying to get a better understanding of what the last 12 months has been like for you, stepping into the organization from another business, and how you've managed that transition. And there's a follow-up question as well, which I definitely want to ask you.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been as I expected, purely because when I accepted the role, I foolishly thought that maybe we'd be working at home for a few weeks and then we'd all be back in the office. But as I said earlier on, my experience really hasn't disappointed. We've been able to pivot to home working. We've had access to all of the systems and the tools, and been able to connect and actually achieve so much by working in this remote way. We talked about onboarding, and there is a really good program there. We're given the room to dedicate to and the time to dedicate to training and onboarding. I strongly recommend that you take that time and you try not to get too dragged into the day job immediately. I ignored all of that advice, and I do regret it, because it's a very unique time to really take full advantage of all of those learning resources. But I think the biggest thing for me has just been how supported I felt through the whole experience. Everybody has put a sort of virtual arm around me, from my team, my peers, my management chain, right up to sort of, I would say, Microsoft corporates. So much thought has gone into making sure that everybody has got through this period. That people have faced some really difficult times, and so many different things have been put in place to make sure that we are looking after all of our employees when they're facing challenging situations. We've had wellness days. We've had a lot of focus on things like health and well-being, with a lot of different initiatives there. We've done our best to have some fun and do some virtual social activities as well. But it's been, I would say, unpredictable in some respects, because I've obviously never onboarded in this way before, but really enjoyable, really productive. And I look forward to seeing what the next year holds for me.
Amazing. Thank you, Lucy. Jon, another question for you that's come through. You talked about the organisation being a strong partner organisation. Can you explain what the partner culture means for the growth of the sales department and for the growth of clients?
Okay, good question. So we do everything with partners. Microsoft, as a software vendor, we rely on our partners to bring our software to life in our customer businesses. We have a very small Microsoft consulting organization, but again, that is a very small part of what we do. So partners are integral to the successful deployment of our applications. We sell with our partners absolutely all the time. There's, for me, it's about showing our customers the journey to the transformation they're going to make. The software itself is only part of that, and the partners give us that roadmap that we can share with customers. They also bring us intellectual property. So many of our partners in the ecosystem have developed specific applications, specific niche functionality that would fit in a particular industry or a particular country. And so absolutely critical part of what we do. We live and breathe with our partners. We sell with them. We work with them. It's a fantastic ecosystem that we have around our organization. Entirely critical to what we do.
Excellent. Thank you. I'm going to come to you, Gosia. Thank you, Jon, for that question. There's a really nice question here around, somebody's mentioned that they really like the values emphasis that you put on there. Gosia, question for you. What is your approach towards customer centricity or customer obsession?
So from my perspective, is just putting, the customer at the heart of everything I do, and it comes also from, the point of understanding their industry. So I think the big part is just, being with the customers, speaking to them, learning about, their industry, and putting their needs on top of our minds in how we, create value. But I also think that's, for me personally, it is also how I can make something creative or make something different, how I can also bring our extended organization into our customers in order to help them, and how I can, take the extra mile on their behalf in order to make them successful. So I think it's really also, as Satya mentioned, that we are an organization that really wants to make our customers successful. And we also have, a lot of resources, a lot of possibilities. And I see myself as the kind of a link between our customers, our technology, our partners, in order to enable them. So for me, it's really taking that always extra step, putting them in front of everything I do.
Thank you, Gosha. Lucy, another question for yourself. This was addressed to you. As you've not really met your team, physically, and you're working in teams most of the time. How do you deal with team fatigue? I think that's meant to be teams fatigue, but it could be either. So you can interpret the question as teams fatigue or team fatigue.
Yeah, I would say yes to both. Yeah, it has been tough. I mean, anyone right now that is working in, well, I think anyone that's been working in the last 12 to 15 months will know that there is a renewed intensity in what we've been doing. I don't think I've been busy, or I don't think I've managed to cram as many meetings and calls and things into a day ever in my career. And I've done that day after day, week after week, month after month. So we're all feeling it. We've tried lots of different things. I've definitely listened a lot to team feedback on, what they need, what works for them and what doesn't. But, we quite often do team meetings where I literally force them all out the door, and we dial in from our phones and we take a walk. We've done some sort of team fitness challenges, which I confess they've done a better job of than I have. We've done a lot of fun social things, ranging from the dreaded quiz, which I think we're all pretty tired of now, cookathons, cocktail making, you name it, we've tried it. One of the standout things for me, and actually this was one way that I did get to meet some fellow colleagues, was we actually managed to organise a day of volunteering when the UK restrictions lifted in May. So we organised ourselves into, hey, there's some photos there so you can see some of the people. We organised ourselves into some teams where we had colleagues living locally, and we spent the morning doing community litter picks, and then in the afternoon we all helped to go and collect items for local food banks and deposit those. And I mean, the sense of elation that people were out, among their colleagues. Most of us didn't know each other at all because we were mixing across a large number of different teams. So that was just great. And as you'll know, we put a big focus on volunteering and giving back to the community. So I really look forward to doing these sorts of things more regularly as we get back to some kind of normality.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Last couple of questions. I'm trying to trying to pick ones that are a bit of a variety in terms of how they come across. So I'll ask this one for you, Jon. This one is centered around applications, or business applications, and the individual said business applications need to be breakthrough and outside the box thinking, and that has become imperative in the industry. How do you cope with that being a priority in the industry at the moment? So outside the box thinking and being, maybe a bit more innovative in the approach.
Okay, excellent question. And that innovation we see in in our customers all the time. We are in a changing market, in a changing world. So maybe some examples. We have devices within Microsoft, our HoloLens 2 devices. It's a mixed reality device. It allows us to bring system applications into a physical world and the physical world into the digital world. So we use the concept of digital twins, remote assistants, guides for people. So when you're on a shop floor, you can very quickly see work instructions, how to fix or repair a piece of machinery very quickly. You can get help from your colleagues back at head office. There's companies like Mercedes-Benz now use this for car maintenance. So where in one of their dealerships, they're not able to fix the car in front of them, those engineers can dial back to head office, and they can show people within head office exactly what they're looking at within the car, and they can get the help that they need for that. We have, through our Azure platform, we have the ability to ingest images, to use artificial intelligence, cognitive services, process sound. So there's a whole load of technology that comes with the Microsoft platform that enables us to extend the normal business processes and bring in, whether it's devices, whether it's information from sensors, to interpret speech, interpret pictures. And when you bring all of that together, it's a very powerful, very rich way of dealing with a system and dealing with a business process. And that will provide our customers huge differentiation when they go to the market.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you. It does. It's almost like I had preempted the question before and I prepared it before, but I assure everybody that I hadn't. So it's a great answer, and takes us to time. Finishes perfectly on time. Thank you first of all, the panel for taking the last hour to answer the question from everybody and from myself. Hopefully, it's been an informative session for everybody that's been. We're very proud to have hosted you today. We are hiring, and at Microsoft in particular within business applications. So hopefully this gives you a bit of a sense of what's to come. You'll never really know until you come and meet the team and hopefully start with us. But I think hopefully it gives you that impetus to apply if you weren't planning on doing that at the moment. So please, we'll send follow-up emails to you in the coming days. That will obviously thank you for coming, and we'll have links to our careers page as well. If you want to be proactive, you can just go onto our the Microsoft website, and you'll be taken to our business applications careers page, and there's a link there as well as all the other roles across the Microsoft globe that we're hiring at the moment. Please have a good day or a good afternoon or a good evening wherever you are in the world, and we look forward to seeing you again on our next Fireside Chat. All the best.